Hey everybody, it's been a while. I gotta talk freelance because I don't have anything written down, and it's just a little quick comment that I'm going to be sharing right now. This is in response to the government suing my Texas Governor Greg Abbott for putting the buoys and razor wired barrels all along the river border. It's about 100 miles. I'm sorry. It's about 100 miles long, and there are buoys to prevent people from swimming across. They roll over in case they try climbing over it. And when they roll underneath, when they try swimming underneath it, there's a bunch of barrels wrapped with razor wire that were dunked into the water underneath the buoys. And of course, that's led to a huge accusation of inhumane acts of cruelty, which is against the law at a federal level. Now, our current president, President Biden, and the government is suing the Justice Department, to be more specific, is suing Governor Greg Abbott. At this time, it is late July. So it's going to be a while until they actually go to court. So obviously Greg Abbott is not going to be removing those barrels anytime soon, or the buoys anytime soon. He's going to keep them there, and he's going to be claiming that he's protecting, Texas as well as the United States at our border and its border protection and all this good stuff. Here's what I'm looking at, though, because I'm hearing a lot of comments about how messed up this is and that Greg Abbott should be thrown in jail and all this other stuff. And yet at the same time, there's others that say, no, it's a great thing and all this other stuff. We're being secured. I'm going to tackle that part first. Okay. Lieutenant Governor of the DPS, that's Department of Public Safety, went to a hearing here in the state of Texas. He didn't go to Congress or anything. And he revealed in a tweet or an email, and presented them also in I think the Texas Senate. I can't remember which building. 7 pictures of migrants that were cut up by the razor wire that were apprehended by Texas law enforcement. And he said, see, this thing is protecting us. What he didn't say as to whether or not those 7 migrants were actual criminals with criminal records. They're just going by the status that if you're crossing the border without any papers, you're an illegal immigrant and therefore you're a criminal. And that's that. You're a threat to security, which is not accurate. Okay, that's generalizing criminals. It's generalizing asylum seekers and fitting them in with criminals. Okay, but let's say he's right. Let's say the 7 photographs of those people apprehended happen to be criminals. Take a look at all the other people that got killed, which was a woman, 2 children, a woman, her unborn baby, a man and his son. Okay, so far that's 6 people, a 15-year-old, a 9-year-old, 19-year-old. Okay, so that's 8 people. And there was one more. There was 2 more people, a man and a woman. No, a man and his daughter. They were killed by this razor wire. Okay, so that's 9 out of the 7 people that Steve McCraw is presenting. Okay, and that's not including the 120 people that actually somehow survived crossing the water. They were dehydrated, passed out. They were dehydrated and starving and all this good stuff. And they were pushed back into the water by the Texas National Guard and DPS and state troopers. Okay, so this security that they're claiming is stopping all these criminals is in actuality victimizing asylum seekers who can't cross this particular bridge or that bridge because they're in the middle of Texas. And even if they could, well, why do that when it's just simpler to swim across the river? And as far as, well, it stops the criminals. Well, technically, DPS and state troopers and all them, they've been, Border Patrol, they've been stopping traffickers this entire time. You know, this buoy doesn't really, this line of buoys don't really stop them. You know, the only times that it stops them is whenever my Texas state governor interferes with their processing and their methods. You know, you look up all the arrests and track them down and type them down and all this other stuff. You record them, and you'll see that they're getting busted all the time. Without without Governor Greg Abbott's ingenious ideas. Okay? And you take a look at all of the ingenious ideas that Governor Greg Abbott is doing and see how much harm it is, how much more costly it is on us, the taxpayers, how much more expensive it is with the costs of getting all that done, his ideas. And you'll see you can actually see through the BS just like the way I can, just like the way everybody that's actually watching this show, or if not broadcasting and spreading news about how messed up things are going on their own podcasts. And it's all being done by those that are in charge. It's not being done by the migrants. It's not being done by those that starving, passed out 4-year-old that just barely made it across the water, after being trekking across from Honduras or El Salvador, or even as far as I think it was Venezuela. That little 4-year-old isn't the problem. None of those people that are starving, giving themselves up, turning themselves in, is the problem. The problem is the traffickers, and they're getting by no thanks to the state governor who's in charge, pulling all these lame brain ideas that's causing more crime to be committed. Which leads us right back to this current subject, which starts this whole thing to begin with. Okay? The government is going to sue Greg Abbott. And for the most part, they're just going to want all that stuff removed. Technically, Greg Abbott and everybody involved with this needless acts of inhumanity, technically they should all face some kind of jail time, even if it's just their first offense. Even in Texas, you're not supposed to be putting razor wire, around where, a dog that needs to piss, gets cut up, Even here in Texas, that's inhumane. So to see this being state-run, state-administered run, is it's very disturbing, and it's a cause for concern, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Which leads to the outcome of all of this. Really, even if the government wins, however long it takes for them to get to court and have the judiciary system, make their judgment, the judge rule in favor of the government, all that stuff is going to be removed in due time. We're still going to be counting bodies that are crossing the river and that are going to be, dying. It's going to be killing a bunch of defenseless and helpless victims who are coming over here after being run out of their country by the powers that be there, or the terror that would be over there, given that a lot of them are being run out based off of the violence going on by people in the street, something that their government isn't even stopping or has no control over. So they're coming over here for sanctuary, and all they got to do is just cross a river. But instead of doing it, because those that seek asylum won't hide. They'll come out and they'll actually go to the local ranches, and this is testimony off of their own local ranches. They'll do this and they'll say, "Migre, la migre, will you please call immigration?" Because they're starving. They need a house. They need a place. They need some shelter. They need food. you know, and most importantly, they need to start a new life. They need to start over after what they lost from their country. This is old news, people. We all know this. So the outcome of this is that after the government, if they win, right now they've got a good case stating some international waters policy. If they win, the only thing that's really going to happen is Governor Greg Abbott's going to be forced to remove the buoys and the razor wire and all that good stuff. And the only thing he's going to do is claim victory. And he's also going to claim victory in the name of chaos. Why? Because this is what people of rhetoric do. He's going to claim victory through the order of chaos. He's going to have all that stuff pulled. He's going to have law enforcement removed from the borders. And there's going to be recordings of migrants coming through. And the government and Governor Abbott is just going to go, see, look, it's an invasion. See, it's a crisis. No, and this is what your Biden is doing. Okay, again, none of that is necessary. Texas state troopers, border patrol, all of them have been and always have been capturing traffickers, rescuing migrants, saving people, for Christ's sake. You know, they've been doing this. That's part of their job. And the proof of it is over in West Texas, where Beto O'Rourke runs the show, in El Paso, just outside of Bexar County. Bexar County is this, for those of you who don't know, Bexar County is spelled Bexar. That's in reference to the old Spanish 15th century, 16th century Spanish talk, where the X isn't pronounced with a sh, it's actually pronounced with an H sound. So to slow it down, you're actually saying Bexar County. But when you're reading it in American English, it's Bexar, which just sounds so stupid. It sounds like an aspirin, you know, Bexar, or some kind of, comic book character. But Bexar County, the correct enunciation, Bexar County is here in San Antonio, all the way out to West Texas, just outside of El Paso. And it's just outside of Bexar County is where Beto O'Rourke is in charge. And he's saving victims all the time. He's letting DPS, Border Patrol, state troopers, hell, HHS, Health and Human Services, saving, rescuing, or recovering victims of trafficking, migrants that crossed over, and arresting traffickers, smugglers, and all of that. Countless amount of drugs and weapons and traffickers have been rescued. So Governor Greg Abbott really doesn't have a solid leg to stand on yet. I don't know what he's going to pull out from underneath. So for right now, all we can do right now is have hope that justice pays off and crime doesn't at the end of this situation. My bosses have showed up. I'm at my new job, so I'm going to be clocking out now. Y'all take care. Take it easy. We'll see you next time. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.